Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and call this board meeting to order. Item 1.1, please stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. Ms. Trahan, would you lead us in the pledge? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and defer the superintendent's comments to after the information items so that we can recognize our guests this evening and send them, let them go ahead and go. In our information items, 2.1, recognition of Coach Tim Lemaire, Lafayette High, on his Louisiana Track and Field Coaches Association Lifetime Achievement Award. Mr. Bergeron.
Thank you so much. Coach Tim, how you doing? So I just want to say a few words and then come up and if you want to give a few words a little bit, but one of the biggest, I guess, concerns I had whenever I was elected was whether or not I would know when there's really great things going on inside our schools, because I'm not in there every day and building relationships as part of this board position. But whenever you were given your Lifetime Achievement Award, it didn't take me long for people to reach out to me and say, and talk about the impact you had in those lives over the years. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, someone who had coaches in his life make a really big impact, thank you for what you do for the families and the students here in Lafayette Parish. And from what I understand from the different parents and students you've touched throughout the years, that you've had a lasting impact and there's nobody greater deserving of a Lifetime Achievement Award than you. So thank you. If you want to come up and give a few words, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for recognizing me tonight, everyone on the board. I appreciate it very much. But if you have a passion for something and you love what you do, it's not work. And I'm one of the luckiest people. I get to work with those kids and their parents who are awesome. And they're incredible kids, and it makes what I do fun. And I enjoy it. I'll tell them, they say, oh, congratulations, Coach. I'm like, oh, it's just an Old People Award, that's all. They looked around the room and saw me standing there. Oh, he's still here. Okay, we'll give it to him. But I do appreciate everything, the recognition, and hopefully I have a few more years to go before we hang it up. Don't tell my wife, but I do want to thank my wife for putting up with me gone all the time. I'd like to also thank my parents and my kids who are here today. Without you, I don't get to do something I love, and so thank you all very much. And thanks again.
Mr. Bergeron, would you like a picture with Mr. Lemaire and the board?
I would love a picture with him.
The board, Mr. Lemaire, Mia, y'all come out. We'll take a picture with y'all.
Well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Principal, you have a lifetime achievement yourself.
And I work for the district. Thank you.
I work in District 1.
The best
Thank you,
district.
man.
Best district.
Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you say it this way? With dinosaurs back, one where no other matters.
2000, I started coaching there in 2005.
Like, y'all stand if this is your
And then I
back.
started
Very
teaching
good.
there in 13.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love that.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's why I have done one this way. Okay, yeah.
Superintendent, yeah.
Perfect. There you go, perfect. I was here with you for. Okay, you ready? 1, 2.
Next item is 2.1. We'd like to recognize the Acadian Middle basketball team on their championship. Ms. Trahan.
Well, good evening, everyone. Glad to see so many smiling faces in the audience. It is my pleasure to introduce the back-to-back champions, Acadian Middle boys basketball, 2 years in a row. Coach JB and August, you are up.
First off, we'd like to thank y'all for having us tonight. This team achieved remarkable success, clinching the state tournament title, LCCA tournament titles, and also an undefeated streak in parish play and a victory in the parish tournament for the second year in a row, highlighting consistent excellence and resilience of Acadian Cougars. I'll call their names one by jersey number. Number 0, Kaylin Prejean. Stand up. Number 1, who is absent, Tavian Gallion. Number 2, Marion Manson. Number 3, Taylon George. Number 4, who is absent, Brandon Duffy. Number 5, Javante Broussard. Number 10, Tavion West. Number 11, Chase Dugas. Number 12, Drake Ward. Number 13, Thaddeus West. Number 14, who is absent, Malik Gloston. Number 15, Jaron Bell. And number 20, who is absent, Amari Malvo. So a special salute to the individuals who played pivotal roles in our success. A heartfelt recognition to Drake Ward for infusing energy since Christmas break, J. Ryan Bell and Taylon George for leading the sideline energy, Marion Manson, Thaddeus West, and Taylon George for their contributions off the bench, Javante Broussard for a deadly mid-range shot, and a rim defender, Tavian for being a general on the court, Chase for a stellar rebounding and a sharp three-point shot, and Brandon Duffy for his passion. Each of you have uniquely enriched the team's triumphs, showcasing the collective effort that defines the spirit of Acadian Cougars. Our journey this year went by the motto, one heart, one beat, symbolizing the unity and synchronization that propelled us to championships. The players showcased not only their athletic abilities, but demonstrated the values of teamwork, determination, and sportsmanship throughout the season. These young athletes have brought a lot of pride to our school and community. Their accomplishments are a testament to the hard work and the commitment fostered within our educational environment. A heartfelt appreciation extends to our parents, whose unwavering support and encouragement played an inaugural role in Acadian Middle's basketball team's triumphant journey. Your dedication echoes the spirit of one heart and one beat, fostering a community that champions not only success on the court, but also values teamwork and resilience. Thank you for standing alongside our student athletes and contributing to the proud legacy of Acadian Cougars. Again, thank you to the board for acknowledging and celebrating Acadian Middle basketball team and Judy's Middle girls basketball teams for our outstanding achievements and embodying the spirit of excellence that we aim to instill in our students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Trahan, would you like a picture with the champions?
Of course, of course. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Coach Davian, because without a great coach, can't lead an awesome team. So hats off to you.
Come forward with the board members behind you. Come forward. Okay, there you go. Hey guys, y'all want to go down on your knee for me so we can get the board members in? Y'all take a knee.
Right knee on the guy.
Right knee. Right knee. There you go.
Right knee on the fellas.
There you go. Right knee. Thank you, boys. Can y'all take the board, can y'all take a right knee so we can get the board members behind you? Thank you. I know. Did we get everyone in? Mr. Rod, I can get you right there, right there. Got it.
Our next recognition will be 2.3, which will be me, Judy's middle girls basketball team. Girls, y'all gonna get the official voice. Y'all ready for it? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we'd like to recognize the Lafayette Parish regular season and tournament champions, Judy's Middle School Lady Cardinals. Come on up, girls. Addie. I don't think they ever heard that voice, Coach Cassidy.
They haven't. They're Judy's. They haven't been at Acadiana yet.
Not yet.
Good evening, board members and superintendent. Thank you for inviting us here tonight as the Lafayette Parish girls basketball champions. This year, I was fortunate enough to coach the Judy's Middle School Lady Cardinal basketball team. This team has been a pleasure to coach. Throughout the season, the girls have always stayed motivated to play and never gave up on each other. They excelled not only on the court, but in the classroom and around the school as well. Our team consists of 3 6th graders, 5 7th graders, and 2 8th graders. Every game and practice, the girls improved, leading to a 14-0 record. This team has been the definition of what it means to be a Cardinal. The team members are, in 6th grade, Miracle Green, Charlie Matern, Briley Wynn. In 7th grade, Colin Mayo, Malaysia Williams, Jaden Arsenault, Gabriella Derwin, and Ajaria Polidor. And in 8th grade, Mila Phelps and Riley Siner. I am Coach Addie Cassidy, and I'm in my first month of drop. Thank you again for acknowledging us for winning the basketball championship.
All right, girls, y'all come up some. Oh, yeah, y'all come up. Oh, y'all got that under control. Come on up a little bit. Look at that. Perfect.
Mila, do what they're doing, Mila. Malaysia, do what they're doing so y'all can match.
Oh, you look cute like that.
Malaysia, one leg up. One leg up. There you go.
All righty. Yeah, but work with this picture thing. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's what girls do. Girls giggle. They're supposed to giggle. There is a deal. It's just white. So I can.
And Lady Cardinals, I want to let y'all know one thing. Forever a Cardinal. Mr. Hidalgo, you wanted the floor?
Yeah, just briefly, you know, my experience filling a Lafayette Parish school board room, like on a night like tonight, because of positive news on the agenda, is sort of unlikely. So congratulations to each one of you for your hard work and dedication, and thank you for all you do, especially our coaches here tonight.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the superintendent's comments. If any of you have another meeting you need to go to, now would be the time to go. Y'all can leave. We'll give y'all a break to go. We know these students have school tomorrow. Mr. Touchette, your comments?
Thank you, Board President and board members. Tonight, we have a special guest in our audience that I would like to recognize. He is our state Bessie board member, Mr. Kevin Birkin, if you can raise your hand. The one thing that I will tell you is that last week we had a regional superintendent meeting, and our Bessie member, Mr. Birkin, committed to attending school board meetings at least once every quarter. And he's here tonight to be able to hear the concerns or anything that you guys may have throughout our different meetings. Three things that we brought to his attention, and I want the audience and I want to reiterate that to you of what I said to him at this meeting, is that one, our teachers are overloaded with unfunded mandates as far as training, and they are not able to do the things they need to do as far as teaching and learning. And I would ask that he, again, take that back to Bessie, take that back to the legislature to make sure that they understand that let's really look at all of this training, and let's make sure that if it's there, it's purposeful and it's something that is going to benefit our teachers, but also allow them to be able to do what they need to in the classroom. The second thing is, as you all know, that we have a teacher shortage, and there's a teacher shortage not only Lafayette Parish, but this entire state. I will tell you that I will continue to advocate for this, that until we get a handle of this teaching shortage, we need to allow these retirees to come back to work. We have a lot of effective teachers out there that would benefit our students, and I am saying that they come back at 0 years. We give them the base salary, and again, we don't fill those positions with that particular person until we see that we can't find a certified person. So I, again, pose that to Mr. Birkin. The last thing is, again, I will say this, and I will continue to say this, is Lafayette Parish is one of the biggest school districts in the state. A lot of the different things that occur at the state level is because of 3 or 4 districts in the state that just don't do the right things. And what happens is we get punished for doing, the right things, and it's just things that are just coming down because of maybe a EBR or New Orleans or whatever it may be. So I just, again, would say that, listen, let's look at it. We have great teachers in this district. We have great administrators. We have great support. Let's really look to see what needs to be done across the state as far as improving education. So, Mr. Birkin, again, I reiterate those 3 things. Again, I thank you for being here, and it's something that means a lot that we will have you to be able to just, again, refer to if we need to. The second thing that I would like to inform the board is, again, this is something that the previous board put in place, but it's coming into action now. 114 buses are going to be air conditioned. Before you know it, we're going to be back in the hot days as far as the summer and at the beginning of the year. I will tell you that as of now, we are bringing buses in, and air conditionings are being put on all of these buses. And I can tell you, as long as I'm the superintendent, when we buy a bus, it will always have an AC moving forward. Next thing that I will tell you is something that's really very dear to my heart. And I want to commend our senior level team, especially Ms. Janine LaFleur, who is our assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction. Our team has went through 244 school visits. Part of those 244 school visits, Ms. LaFleur gives those principals and those teachers written feedback on exactly what we see in those rooms. Ms. LaFleur, you ought to be commended for the work that you've done. And I can tell you that everyone in this room who is in the schools knows that we are in the schools, and we believe that what's happening in the classroom is what matters. Again, that is a very big thing. The last thing is that our staff is dealing with budget and dealing with staffing. I will tell you that there will be a lot of tough decisions that will be made, and it's because of the impact of the charter schools. I will say to our educators that our priority in this budget will always be instruction. We will make sure that the decisions that are made, we will make sure that instruction is the focus. I will say to you that we need to understand that charter schools are here and they're here to stay. We need to strap it on, and we need to get ready to go. We need to compete. And it's time for us to do what we need to do, and our team is ready to go. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Touchette. We'll move on to the consent agenda. 3.1, discussion and or action concerning the transfer of French immersion students at Westside Elementary School to other French immersion schools beginning the 24-25 school year. 3.2, discussion and or action concerning revision of policy BBC, school board committees. 3.3, discussion and or action concerning resolution 02-024-2084, Black History Month. 3.4, board discussion and or action concerning resolution 02-024-2085, National Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month, February. 3.5, discussion or action concerning the rezoning of a portion of Carencro High School attendance zone to Northside High School attendance zones beginning in the 2024-25 school year. 3.6, discussion and or action concerning committed school sites, additions, renovations, and replacements. 3.7, discussion and or action concerning the paraeducator to teacher training program stipend for employees who meet the listed criteria. 3.8, discussion and or action concerning proposed changes to the account clerk 2 job description. 3.9, discussion and or action on the 2023-2024 differential pay stipend. 3.10, discussion and or action concerning the 2024-2025 staff allocation formulas and guidelines booklet. 3.11, employee services, discussion and or action concerning the gifted tuition incentive agreement for teachers who meet the listed criteria. 3.12, discussion or action concerning the addition of a secretary to federal position in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction and the corresponding job description. 3.13, discussion or action concerning the February budget to actual revisions for fiscal year 23-24. 3.14, discussion and action concerning resolution 02-024-2083 National School Counseling Week, which is February 5th to 9th, 2024. 3.15, discussion or action concerning the minutes of January 3rd, 12th, and 13th, 2024. And 3.16 is approval of all action consent items. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, can you please pull 3.5?
Okay, any other items? Not, I'll entertain a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bergeron, a second by Ms. LeBoux, that we approve all agenda items not pulled. Do we have any public comment? Public comment will be limited to comments for or against. It is not question and answer. Please, when you come to the podium, please let us know which item you're speaking on. Ms. Reed?
Sorry about that. Yeah, good one.
So, Julia Reed, Lafayette Parish Association of Educators President, speaking in reference to two of the items. I forgot the numbers. The board committees. So, a concern of the employees within the format is that within the current setup of the committee, not every employee class, many employee classes are specifically named, whereas in this one, it does not specifically name any departments. And the concern is that there could be overrepresentation by some groups. Not that we don't trust the current administration, but once you make a policy, then that policy is on the books. Mr. Touchette's career is, not saying it's going to be over anytime soon, but I will be here longer than he will, and a lot of our employees will, and he won't always be superintendent. And not every superintendent has the same quality. And so we just want to urge the board to consider maybe adding the specific departments or adding departments at all, making sure that the full spectrum of employees are represented, because we are self-funded and this is our money that we pay into the fund, and they would like to make sure that they have an equitable voice in it, in advising the board, the superintendent and the board. Secondly, for the differentiated pay, A lot of teachers were very upset by the differentiated pay. Many of our social studies, ELA, and elementary felt somewhat insulted or upset by the differentiated pay, which I understand that you guys are trying to work within the bounds that is assigned by the state, and it's not entirely the board's fault. But I do wanted to share that with you guys because I'm sure I've heard from them and will continue to hear from them. And specifically, what we would like from you guys around this issue is your support in the upcoming session. And specifically, what our organization is asking from you is we would like a resolution, possibly from the board, supporting making the $2,000 stipends that the state gave last year permanent pay raises. I represent a large chunk of employees who are also taxpayers, but you guys represent all the taxpayers of Lafayette Parish. And I think it would help if we stood together to make sure that the pay raises are equitable, fair, and permanent, and don't create hard feelings in between our employees like this pay does, because it does hurt the elementary, the ELA, the social studies, the paras, the bus drivers, when they feel specifically excluded. So we would urge you that you would support us at the Capitol this year in making those raises permanent and fair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Ms. Mons?
I don't need that much time. First, before I'm going to speak to 3.2, but first I want to congratulate my friend Kevin Birkin, who everybody in here who knows about Hospice of Acadiana and the Calcutta House would not be possible without Mr. Kevin Birkin. So, Kevin, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on 3.2. As you know, I represent the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. I met with Mr. Touchette yesterday. I fully understand his interest in having the committee report to him, as I told him yesterday. My concern is the 1 year. I think Ms. Mason can attest to the fact that you don't understand everything you need to understand in 1 year. I think that's too short of a time. I share Julia Reed's concern about the appointment and the manner of the appointment and ensuring that every employee group is represented as it is now. And my third concern is the elimination of our bylaws, which determine how we function and the way we function for decades. We have a self-funded plan, and the fact that the employee groups, maintenance, bus drivers, teachers, principals, the fact that employee groups would not be selecting their representatives, I think is sending a bad signal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, Ms. Landry?
Thank you, Mr. Lottrelli. I'll make it brief.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
no lines, okay?
I would not cut off my former teacher.
Thank you. I
go on
appreciate
ahead.
that. I
They
really
they tell me
appreciate
she still has the paddle in her vehicle, so I'm going to...
No, it's not in the vehicle, but it is still at home. Thank you. No. I too understand the superintendent's desire to put this committee and meet with him first. I totally agree with that. My concerns are a one-year term. It takes 2 to 4 years to understand the budget, to understand all the complexities of insurance. And you have people that have been on a while and have that experience. Brand new people would not, and so I'm not sure the committee would be effective. The second concern also is this committee was formed in 1992, and yes, I wasn't a teacher at that time and remember it. And they allowed the employee groups to select the representatives, so they would feel comfortable going to whoever they selected. We would like to see that stay if at all possible. So we would like to work with the superintendent in trying to resolve these if possible. If you could maybe delay it to give us a little more time. We saw the policy late yesterday afternoon, and so we would like the opportunity to try to kind of work this out if possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Landry. Any other public comment? Any board comment? Ms. LeBoux?
You can't give me a microphone, you know that. I had a couple questions. 3.7 on the para-educator, I don't know if it's a reimbursement or scholarship. How is that going to be communicated? I just want to make sure that we know how that's going to be disseminated.
Mr. Mouton?
Got it. Good evening to the board. We, as well, the Employee Services Department will send out notification to people in the qualifying job descriptions. So our paras, we already know a good number of paras who are currently enrolled in teacher certification programs. But we will go further than that and send notice out to employees in those categories who would qualify and make sure they have word.
Good. And can we maybe publish it to the public as well as
Yes,
all of
ma'am.
our staff?
I
I just
mean-
want to make sure that everybody knows about the opportunity.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And just like we've done with our other stipends that we have, of course, the plan is to get with the communications department, to put it on the website, to put it out, to send out word, to push out. But we will reach out directly to people who we know are within those categories.
Terrific. Thank y'all for always doing such a good job. I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I just wanted to commend our parish and the superintendent for our staff allocation being below what the state recommends. So I just wanted to say thank you for doing that. I think that was item number 3.9. And then I don't know if it's too late to go back and pull 3.2, but we may want to revisit that as the issue with the BBC. I would like to see, I think it makes sense to have the panels, superintendent advisory panels, align with the superintendent contract, because I believe, like, you know, if these are the individuals that he is addressing and these are the individuals he's selected for certain committees, I think it only makes sense that we have them for the length of his contract. So I don't know if I want to go back and pull it, or maybe we can amend it at a different meeting, but I do believe, and he and I just discussed that briefly, that it does make sense to have those panels, being that they are superintendent panels, align with the length of the superintendent contract, which currently is a 2-year contract. So it gives it a little bit longer than that year. And I agree, it takes 4 years as a board member to figure out a lot of things. So that would be my only comment to the board, is that I do think it makes a lot of sense to align the two, just because it does correlate with the superintendent and his communication with them, and he's going to be working with them to come up with some recommendations to the board. So maybe that's a discussion that we have, and bring that item back up for the next meeting.
So Ms. LeBoux, I'll go on record and state that I can appoint the same committee that we're going to put back to back. I mean, it gives us that opportunity. So I'll go on record and state that it could be 1 year, but I'll commit to bringing those people back for that second year during that term.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
I'd like to read Resolution 02-024-2083. This week is National School Counseling Week. First of all, I want to tell all the counselors out there, thank you for what you do. They have an extremely important job, especially with their work with administration and their work with the kids and the parents and all of the numerous things the state throws out to them. They do an outstanding job. So I want to congratulate them on their week and read this. To recognize National School Counseling Week on February 5th through the 9th, whereas the American School Counselor Association sponsors the National School Counseling Week to focus public attention on the unique contribution of professional school counselors within all school systems, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents, as these traits relate to career awareness and development. And whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children. And whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. And whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school, therefore, be it duly resolved that the Lafayette Parish School Board does hereby designate the week of February 5th through the 9th, 2024, as National School Counseling Week. Congratulations, counselors.
Thank you, Mr. Lejeune. Ms. Trahan, would you like to read 3.3, please?
I do. Thank you, Mr. President. Resolution 02-024-2084, Lafayette Parish School Board, whereas the children of each community are our nation's greatest resource, and whereas our ideal as a nation has been and continues to be e pluribus unum, out of many comes one. And whereas the Lafayette Parish School Board believes that students should be educated for life in a diverse society, and whereas the Lafayette Parish School Board strives to ensure educational equality for citizens, especially minority students, and whereas African Americans have made numerous and significant contributions to this nation and the world, and whereas February has been designated nationally as Black History Month to provide an opportunity for all Americans to deepen their understanding of the African American experience. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lafayette Parish School Board does hereby proclaim February 1st through the 29th, 2024 as Black History Month, and that the schools are urged to observe this proclamation through appropriate activities which focus on this year's theme of the Black family, representation, identity, and diversity, and assist all students in gaining a greater understanding of the contributions which African Americans have made and continue to make toward improving society.
Thank you, Ms. Trahan. Ms. Mason, would you please read 3.4 for me? That is put on the agenda every year for Ms. Roxanne Martin. She counts on me to put that resolution, and I've always told her, when you're given the opportunity to have a platform, you use it for whatever you can. And Ms. Mason, if you could read that for me, please.
Yes, thank you. All right, National Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, Awareness and Prevention Month, February 2024. Whereas Voices of Acadiana supports National Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month, 2024, to bring attention to and advocate for teen victims of domestic violence. Whereas Voices of Acadiana wants to take a stand and remind our local communities that the 26% of women and 15% of men who are victims of contact sexual violence, physical violence, and/or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime first experience these or other forms of violence by that partner before age 18. Whereas Voices of Acadiana and our communities shall not stop until society has zero tolerance for domestic violence and until all victims and survivors can be heard. Therefore, be it duly resolved that the Lafayette Parish School Board does hereby designate the month of February as National Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. There are no more public board comments. Madam Secretary, I'll call for the vote.
Nine for, none against.
All items not pulled have passed. Before we move on to the one item pulled, let me assure you, Ms. Landry, and the rest of the retirees, the policy can continue to be looked at in the future and added in conversations. And I can assure you, I watched the superintendent write down notes when y'all were speaking. So this is not a complete etched in stone, but it has passed, and it'll always be open, and I assure you that.
Can I say one thing?
You can.
Thank you. I've been on the board insurance committee going on my 5th year, and this is such an important voice in our community, and especially for our retirees. And I've talked at length with our superintendent, and this is definitely a voice and a pathway that we want to bring to the board's attention and directly to the superintendent. So I just want to assure you all, I've been on it 5 years, and in every meeting I'm learning something new. So, and I did want to point out that the bylaws did say 1-year appointments as well. So I think that it's something that, can be looked at with the superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think Mr. Zarmo has something he'd like to say.
I would just like to say I did receive calls today concerning that topic, and after really good discussions with our superintendent, I felt very comfortable going this direction. So I just don't want anybody to think that we weren't listening. We were, and these conversations were being had. So I expect this to continue to grow.
Okay. The one item that was pulled by Ms. Strahan is 3.5, discussion or action concerning the rezoning of a portion of Cancro High School attendance zone to Northside High School attendance zone beginning the 2024-25 school year. Ms. Strahan?
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity to speak.
We're going to need a motion. Do you want me to just go ahead and read the recommended motion?
Please.
Okay. The motion will be that the board approves the rezoning of portion of the attendance zone for Cancro High to Northside High School beginning the 2024-25 school year. Ms. Strahan, do I have a second? Okay, motion by Ms. Strahan, second by Mr. DeZarmo. Just because the motion is made with your name doesn't mean you have to support the item. It's just the motion has been made.
Okay, just so I'm understanding.
Okay, we have to go to, Varsity, we got to go to public comment first.
Okay, thank you.
Any public comment on this item? Any public comment? Hearing none, board comment. Ms. Strahan, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm learning, so thank you so much. Okay, this is our second meeting, all of the new board members. So I believe I'm going to say this right, but I'd like to make a substitute motion to defer this actual item so that there could be further discussion amongst the various board members. I think, when we first came on board, and for those of us who are new that were actually attending the prior board meetings with the other board that actually discussed this item, it's a new board now, and so I think this is. Well, just give me some guidance on how I should do it.
The problem that you have is the person who made the original motion cannot make the substitute motion. And so what we're going to need to have a new mover on the original motion, and then she would be in a position to make a substitute motion. If the substitute motion receives a second, then the substitute motion can be discussed.
Does anybody want to take lead on the motion? Mr. DeZarmo, second. Anybody wants to take lead on the original motion of approval?
I'm sorry, can you clarify that again, Mr. Bob?
Sure. The motion to approve the recommendation that was in your in board docs, the motion was made by Ms. Strahan, and now Ms. Strahan says she'd like to make a substitute motion. So she can't make a substitute motion to her own motion. So we need to have the original motion needs to have a new maker so that Ms. Strahan is then free to make her substitute motion.
So she does not need to withdraw, even though, okay.
No.
So I would like to make a motion to approve 3.5.
Okay. Does your second stay? Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Mason, second by Mr. DeZarmo that we approve. the motion, the recommended action. Now, we have a substitute motion to defer by Ms. Trahan. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Edmond. Is there any public comment on deferring this item? Any board member comment on deferring this item?
I do.
Mr. DeZarmo?
So I know it seems like this was last minute, but this has been going on since last June, actually. The original drawing came out last June. It was already kind of approved amongst discussions of that was the line that was going to be drawn. Then it came up again in December with a whole new line that was really confusing to everybody. So even though it's been pushed around and we are a new board, the item is still the same item that it was before, and it needs to be resolved. So the whole goal is for Karen Crowe to help where it needs to be helped, and we're willing to, and Karen Crowe wants to do that. And this is a chance for us to help Northside High School with up to 110 kids that could possibly help build their school. So it's not to hurt any school, and this is actually something that's been going on since June of last year was the original conversation. But I do get, Miss Amy is correct, we're a new board, we're all new, but my side hasn't forgot yet. They're still talking about it, and this is where we're at.
Any other board comment? Okay, before I call for the vote, I want to be very clear. If you vote yes, we defer. If you vote no, we go back to the original motion.
Mr. President, am I allowed to?
Yes, you're allowed to speak. Yes, ma'am.
So just to reiterate, we are a new board, and even though this has been going on since last June, the conversation hasn't been had with this board collectively. So that's what I'm asking for us to have. In particular, the district, the board members for the district that it directly impacts, for us to have that conversation, because we may decide that we don't want this to happen 24, 25. We haven't even had that conversation amongst this board. So that's what I'm asking, for us to have that dialogue and for us to start to develop that rapport and speak about our different schools.
Any other board member comment? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
So it was asked about the timing. Again, anytime that you make moves such as this and you start moving kids from one end to the other, it's important that you know that the staff has a lot of the behind-scene things that need to be done. We have always stated that, hey, March is going to be that day in which we're not going to be able to do these things to make sure that we have notifications. We have people that we have to look at staffing. So there's a lot of impact. So if this is deferred, I will just say that it will probably be very hard for our staff to be able to take on this task this year. And as Ms. Amy said, it may be something that you guys may need to look at next year. Again, this is a high school, and a lot of different things, tie up into those things.
Four for, 4 against, and 1 abstain.
That's a push. The motion fails. We'll now resort back to the first. The recommended action that the board approves the rezoning of a portion of the attendance zone for Karen Crowe High School to Northside High School beginning with the 2024-2025 school year. The motion was made by Ms. Mason, second by Mr. DeZarmo. Is there any public comment on approving this item? Any board comment? I'll call for the vote to approve.
7 for, 1 against, 1 abstain.
Motion carries. That was the last item on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. Mr. Birkin, the board members are asking if you could please stay after the board meeting. Okay, litigation, 4.1, discussion and action concerning prospective litigation. 4.2, discussion and action concerning prospective litigation. And 4.3 is discussion and action concerning prospective litigation. I'll entertain a motion that we go into executive session. Mr. Hidalgo, second by Ms. LeBou. The motion is that we go into executive session to include 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Executive session.
Oh, it's green.
We get asked that everybody take a seat, please.
I make a motion that we return to regular session.
We have a motion by Ms. Mason, second by Mr. DeSarmo, that we return to executive session. All in favor say aye. All opposed? We're now back in regular session. Ms. LeBeau, I'll accept a motion on 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. We'll go ahead and do these in globo.
Mr. President, I make a motion that the board accept the recommendation of our adjusters for 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3.
We have a motion by Ms. LeBeau. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Mason. Do we have any public comment on litigation? Any board member comment on litigation? Madam Secretary, I'll call for the vote.
Nine for, none against.
Motion carries. Before we adjourn the meeting, Mr. DeSarmo, you have something you would like to say?
Yes, it's a very important thing just happened for us over at Karen Crowe High School. So through this meeting, we were approved to build a ag barn at our facility, which agriculture in Karen Crowe has been a big deal since I can remember. And anybody you talk to that's been from Karen Crowe, ag was always a big part of their schooling. That's kind of went away for a long time, but we have great representation now for our ag department, which is one of the reasons we put this on the agenda. And I'd like to invite them up, them and their Mr. H and his crew that's with him, including my daughter. She's sitting over there being quiet, but she's one of the. She was showing chickens this year, first time. I have 37 chickens. She didn't want to show them, but she had a different chicken to show. But this is our leader, and it's helping us go in the right direction. They want to thank you guys for the help.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. President. I'm just kind of getting the window feed from back there. We can hear him well, but the public can't.
Yeah,
Right,
you need to
the
use the
public
microphone
needs
for
to
the
hear
public.
you.
I think they took it down already.
Where's the sound? It's over there.
Sorry for the delay.
Yes, I apologize.
All right, thanks, sir. Good evening, board. My name is Braxton Hartshorn. I am one of the agriculture teachers at Karen Crow High School, and I'm accompanied by our Karen Crow FFA officer team, our principal, Ms. Knott, and our vice principal, Ms. Butte. We'd like to thank you all for the opportunity of this new facility. It allows us to grow our program, increase diversity and inclusivity, and accommodate students like we never had before. This facility will increase our opportunities available to students enrolled at Karen Crow High School, and we truly appreciate the immense time and effort that the board has put into this operation. Thank you.
Thank you. You need something? No? Good. No. This concludes our board meeting. This meeting is adjourned.
Yes. Oh. Let's see. Oh, no, I've got to go. See, I thought, oh, they go with hand in hand. Okay. Return is HM. That's, yeah, that's 4.1. I gotta go to the other ones. KLHM.
All right, Christy, you need anything?
No, sir. You don't want to take you some food home?
Does look good.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of ready.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
KL. Bye, Desiree. Oh,